Golinger, who's a Venezuelan-American writer and attorney, joins us via Skype from New York. Eva, welcome to the program. You've followed events in Venezuela closely. You've written a lot about it. You were a close friend of Hugo Chavez. Is your sense now that we're in dangerous times? Where is this heading?
Well, absolutely. It's a very dangerous moment in Venezuela. It's certainly been leading up to this over the past year or so. Widespread discontent, not just among the traditional anti-government groups, but also amongst those that supported Chavez when he was alive in his presidency and continued to support Maduro as the successor of Chavez. Nevertheless, the economic crisis in the country is so severe, the shortages of food, the unlivable wages, the massive hyperinflation, it's just created a very unstable and uncertain future for Venezuelans. Millions have been leaving the country. There's been questionable elections with Maduro's legitimacy has fallen under question over the past 2 years in electoral processes. So this is not new, and Venezuelans anyway are used to protesting out in the streets. But we haven't seen this level of protesters rallying around, particularly a new, fresh face for the opposition. So that's one game changer, is the fact that there's a face now as leadership of the opposition that doesn't represent sort of the old school, traditional, more corrupt. The other is the fact that, as your map showed, there's now a majority of South American nations that are backing the opposition. That was completely different just a few years ago when they were primarily leftist-led governments and backed Chavez and then Maduro. And then, of course, we have, the Trump administration aggressively, explicitly, directly supporting a de facto president, self-proclaimed, and refusing to recognize the Maduro government, in fact, defying Maduro's orders of expulsion of U.S. diplomatic personnel, which could lead to a confrontation over the next few days. So I do think that it's dangerous terrain. It's interesting to see all these countries in the region and world quickly recognizing a self-proclaimed president. But the true picture is what will happen tomorrow.
Exactly, and the military is key, isn't it? The military is key. If with this new face of the opposition, as you call it, plus the international support for him, is that going to sway the military? Is it going to mean that the military will flip sides?
There are pockets and smaller factions of military that have come out against Maduro, including several stronger figures, generals that backed Chavez, that held key positions with Hugo Chavez during his time, that were loyal to him and are now rebelling against Maduro. Most of them have been suppressed. Hundreds of them are in prison and have been so over the past year because there have been ongoing uprisings from the military. However, at this time, the high-level command is backing Maduro. They've come out to say it. The Minister of Defense is supporting the government, the Constitution. Other members of the military are as well. So without the military, there's no way that the opposition could actually take control of government or Venezuela's resources and their industries. Of course, we're talking about the largest oil reserves in the world. So, if they can't control the Venezuelan banks, if they can't control the institutions, and how exactly do they plan to run a parallel government? How exactly will, other countries be able to engage in some kind of relations, diplomatic relations, with a de facto president and, operating outside, parallel to the official government institutions? I think it's dangerous terrain. It's unprecedented. It's clearly a violation of international law. You can dislike Maduro. The country needs change. But this is clear and directly regime change and a sort of diplomatic coup d'etat taking place in Venezuela.
Okay,
and I don't see it happening.
Briefly, Eva, I just want to very quickly get on to you mentioned the oil reserves there. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. They haven't been resourced properly up until now. And this geopolitical battlefield revolves around that, doesn't it? Because you have the United States not supporting Maduro, but then Russia and China do.
That's exactly correct. And I think that scenario will be playing out over the next few days. It's true that the U.S. would like to regain control over Venezuela, install a government that's favorable to U.S. interests. But Russia has come out today backing Maduro once again. We haven't heard yet from China. They have heavy investments in Venezuela, so I don't think they would be quick to just all of a sudden turn their backs on the Venezuelan government that they've been working with now for 2 decades. So I think that this is, again, delicate situation, not so clear-cut as it's being made out to be in a lot of media, recognizing a new president in Venezuela and what's to come after that. I mean, I think there are a lot more powerful interests at play behind the scenes that are going to be negotiating an outcome for Venezuela. But it will, again, come down to the decision of the Venezuelan people, as it should be, and the decision that the military makes. Will they continue to back Maduro, or will they back some kind of transitional government?
Well, it all certainly seems to be coming to a head. Eva Golinger, we do appreciate your perspective on this. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.